trade related, anything psychology related, anything risk management related, whatever you guys want to ask. It could be anything. You could ask what John's favorite color is. It doesn't matter. So we are going to answer to the best of our abilities. Hopefully we can help you guys out a little bit, have some good conversation, and go from there. So yeah, right now, I'd just like to open it up for you guys. Let us know what you got. Let us know what you got for us.
I got a question for you guys as well. I got a little calendar. Gives me questions and quotes every day. Days is, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Thought that was pretty good, thought-provoking. Maybe something you guys could chew on today.
That's a good one. I like that question. Your one wild life, is that what you said?
What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Precious. Wild and precious life. It's like Frank said, retire early and travel. It sounds like a nice little plan.
Yes, sir.
Kava, you said, I'm just going to go answer your question real quick. You asked, how can I scale from being a break-even trader to a profitable trader? Well, everything I say is going to be easier said than done. That's for sure. It's always easier said than done. But what I would always recommend to anybody that is struggling at one point in their trading career, whether that means you're unprofitable or you're break even and you're just trying to get to that next level, is really trying to formulate some kind of plan. Formulate some kind of plan and go to find other people or mentors or somebody that you've seen that has found success, and try to emulate that plan or try to create a personal plan based off of someone else's, maybe someone else's ideas, something like that. So it can be really difficult once you feel like you are stuck at a certain point, right? You feel like you're stuck at break even. You feel like you can't just get to that next level. One thing I would say is patience, patience, patience. That is everything, right? And everybody is going to have a different timeline. Some people might find profitability within 6 months. It's rare, but other people, it might take 2 or 3 years, right? Everything is dependent on your own life, and it's relative to your own trading career. You might not be able to put as much time into it as you want to. While as someone else, maybe they have the time to put in 5 hours a day into studying, and maybe they might get there a little bit quicker. Right? But what we don't want to do is compare ourselves to others. We want to compare ourselves to who we were yesterday, right? That's something I really like to try and live by. Can you get at least 1% better every single day from who you were the day before? So instead of comparing yourself to someone else, start thinking about, what did I do today to get better? How did I work today to become profitable from my break-even standpoint right now? Right? And if you can look back at every single day and you can start to see that you had some type of plan, you stuck to your plan, you kept your good risk management, you kept your psychology, you really stuck to it, you can know that you got at least 1% better from the day before. You improved on yourself. And I'm telling you, it's all in due time. If you are willing to put in the work and you're willing to put in the effort and the discipline to become profitable, it will happen eventually, right? I'm not promising you it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not promising you it's going to happen in the next few months. But I'm telling you right now, if you actually stick to that, you find a strategy that you love, you stick to a very strict risk management plan, you will get there. It can happen, right? I don't know if you have an answer for that as well.
No, you put it pretty well. I'm thinking as well. What stuck with me about what you said is getting 1% better every day. Again, this stuff is easier said than done, but what we're trying to achieve here is consistency. If you're able to find consistency, you will find success in the stock market. So that's your goal. How do you make systems to work towards consistency? And I think it's individualized. It's going to be different for everybody. So I encourage you to keep a journaling notebook and write down what you did wrong during a trade and what you did right, and do that for all of your trades, regardless of how many you take. And you'll start to get a really good idea of the things you're doing right and wrong. And from there, you could say, all right, I'm going to continue to work on this, and I'm going to actually cut this out of my trading strategy. And when you do that, I think consistency will find itself through those habits. So if you're able to stick to a system like Jojo was saying, it starts to come on pretty quick. And consistency, again, is just a byproduct of discipline and constantly getting better. So easier said than done, but definitely get out that journaling notebook and write down your trades and work towards that consistency.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one very important thing is intentional thought and making your thoughts conscious. So like John said, using a journal will make those thoughts conscious, right? You're going to, instead of subconscious thought where you know maybe you're messing up somewhere, but you're not actually intentionally trying to do something about it, you're never going to see a change. So that trading journal will definitely start helping you be accountable and start putting intentional thought into what John was saying, what you're doing wrong, and how can you improve that. So completely agree. Yes, I will be trading after this session. I'm going to have one more trading session today. We'll be starting that at 10:45 PST. Paid in full. You said that you recorded yourself streaming yesterday. It helped watch back later. Oh yeah, 100%. I've recommended that to people before, to get some kind of recording software on your computer where you can record yourself making trades. And it's that idea that I talked about. I talk about this all the time, but right, being able to defend every trade you take. And if you can record yourself, yeah, you go back and you look at some of these trades that you take, and you actually record it. You're literally going to say, you're going to see these trades you take and be like, what was I even thinking? What was the point of this trade? That was just completely off of emotion, right? But then you can also look back at certain trades that you took that were really solid and you stuck to your plan, and then you can journal those trades and you can see where you went right. You can figure out, okay, I used this strategy, I used this entry model, I waited for this level to be hit, and then I got in, right? And you can build off of those good habits. So I completely agree, paid in full. I think that's a great way to keep yourself accountable for sure. Yeah, OBS is great. OBS is great. All right, guys, you got some more questions, some more comments for us? Let's see, Ron, what do you have to say here? You are opening a day trading account with AMP Futures using CQG data and TradingView chart. Close my Apex Trading Funded account. Should my average trade risk be 2% or 5% per trade from overall account balance or another parameter? So, to me, I mean, I could give this one to John since he is a risk management coach, but I'll just say real quick, this should be completely dependent on your own situation. You should want to keep your risk low. And I know John was talking about this yesterday in his risk management class, right? Most of these big guys, most of these big institutions, they're not risking more than 1%, maybe even sometimes maybe 2%, but they're not risking more than that ever. Now, we don't have the leverage that these big institutions have. So it's really up to you, right? You just have to break down some kind of system to where, do I want to risk 5%? Do I want to risk more? Do I want to risk less? How many trades do I want to take before I would blow an account? Or how many trades do I want to take before I could pass an account? And it's all really personal preference, but I definitely always recommend keeping that risk low and keeping that reward high. I don't know if you want to add on to that at all, John.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You covered it pretty well. Like he was mentioning, these institutions that have been doing this for a long time and are extremely good at it, they're trading at very small percentages of their overall liquidity. And they're also implementing extremely advanced risk management strategies like hedging to even mitigate that liquidity risk that they're taking even more so. And so it's just kind of a point of view, a perspective that you need to get your head around. It's going to take time, but it definitely depends on how big your account size is. Like I mentioned before, if you're trading with $2,500 to trade, less than 2%, those returns are going to be really, really small. But that's also to say that, that doesn't really matter at the first part of your journey. Like I mentioned earlier today, our whole goal as speculative traders is to become consistent. I guess as any investor is to become consistent. So I would say the less the better until you find consistency, and then you can start to circle back and say, okay, I'm willing to risk a little bit more of my liquidity because I know I'm consistent and I can actually put into words, I can look at all my statistics and say, yeah, I am consistent X amount of times and my win loss ratio is this, and my overall ratio for trades, let's say a 2-to-1 trade, if you're averaging out around 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, and even though you're only consistent 50% of the time, you're still making money. So again, back to the consistency, I would just say less is better until you find that.
Yep, I completely agree. Completely agree. Looks like we got some fans of John over here.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here.
Yeah, guys. So I think consistency is the biggest thing. That's what we're trying to build, is just a consistent discipline. That's what we are literally all about. That's pretty much our mission statement here, is building disciplined traders, right? We want to build disciplined traders, but this also, we're so focused. We're not just focused on trading here. We're focused on real life. And you know, me and the team, me, John, and Braden, we've sat down a few times and we've talked about what are our goals, right? What are our goals for this Eternal Exchange Discord? And it's not just trading. Trading is that's the cornerstone, right? Trading is what we're all focused on together as a goal. We want to all be consistent, profitable traders. But the cool thing about trading, and what we sat down and talked about, was we want to build a community where we are all trying to get better in all aspects of our life, not just trading. And when we do that and we focus on all these other aspects of our life, it plays a direct effect into our trading. And I've seen that in my personal life, and I'm sure I know John has seen that in his own personal life and his trading career in the past. And when you focus on your mental health and you focus on your physical health and you focus on growing as a person, oh my gosh, it plays such a direct effect into your trading career. It's insane. It's actually crazy how much it affects it. When I have been at my lowest mentally, my trading sucked. My trading was not there. I couldn't focus. I was letting my emotions take over. But when I started working on that mental health and working on focusing on keeping good physical health and trying to grow in my personal life, it played such an effect, and I started seeing my trading get so much better, so much more consistent, staying disciplined, right? So that's a huge thing, and that's what we sat down and talked about, was we want to build a community where we are like-minded people here to help each other achieve common goals, right? We're here to grow as human beings, to help others, and at the end of the day, yes, we are here to make some money. We're here to build a discipline and to become profitable traders. That's our goal for all of you guys. But there's so much more to that. And that's what we're trying to build here, right? It's a community. I'm not just hopping on here and calling out trades and that's it. No, we have good discussion, we learn, and we focus on ourselves and we focus on helping others, right? That's what it's about. But yeah, any more questions, comments? Let's see. Paid in full. Right now, I am on a 25K eval, 1.5K drawdown. Every day I'm risking $150. That's 10% of drawdown, and wonder if that's too much. So just back to that, being relative to how risk averse you are and how much capital you have to be putting into trading and to be putting into these prop firms. I don't think it's an awful thing to risk 10% of a drawdown on an eval. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I'm not going to sit here and say that's the worst thing in the world, because sometimes you do have to use a little bit more leverage to pass some of these evals. But if that is too much leverage and you find yourself losing consistently, then that's when you really want to focus on maybe scaling down and risking less. But if you find yourself being very consistent with the 10% risk of your drawdown, that's different. If you feel very confident and you're convicted in your trades, you can make that work. So that's why I always say it's very relative to who you are as a trader, to your personality, to your trading strategy. Because some people, they can risk 10% and they have a higher win rate and they do just fine. But other people, if they risk 10%, their account is gone within a few days. So that's what I would say about that.
Right, absolutely. You covered it perfectly well. Just look at your win-loss ratio. If you're losing every day, probably not a good idea to have 10% of your drawdown. But if you have
Yeah.
a good win ratio as well as a risk to reward ratio per trade, that'll be all right. And again, that's just going back to only $1,500 to play with. Your account is going to be risking more percentage regardless,
Yeah, exactly.
or a higher percentage.
Young Wasabi, love the name. Um, so that's why I'm glad ventured off and started EE. Been waiting for this since I joined Danny a while back. That's definitely where I want to be. Well, I'm glad. That makes me very happy that you're here. You're locked in. I love it, man. Love it.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to facilitate here is just a community, like truly. And I know lots of people say that online, and some of them mean it, they really do, but that's a priority here is a community that a true community where people are leaning on people and helping each other, and in doing so you help yourself. It's pretty cool. So that's what we're trying
Yep,
to facilitate here.
exactly. Okay, let's see. Glenn, you said my biggest issue is I'm always rushing into anything in life, not just trading, with very little patience. Trying to be more calm on every aspect on a daily basis, but it's very hard. It's a very difficult habit to break. I find myself doing the same thing, right? I find myself struggling with patience even now in my life, right? I've in trading at least I have gotten to the point where it's very consistent, and I got to that point a while ago where I could really stay disciplined in the markets because I built that discipline. But even in other aspects of my life, it's very hard to create and to stay calm and to be patient because us as beings, we want instant gratification, especially in the generation we're at right now. In our world right now, everybody's focused on instant gratification, so it can be so hard to stay patient. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I still struggle with that, right? I still use social media. That stuff messes with your patience. It causes you to want that instant gratification, which then plays an effect in trading because if you're getting that instant gratification and everything else in your life, then you expect that to happen in trading as well. And that's just not really the case, right? That's why I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Because really, this trading is not a sprint; it's a marathon. Like this is the long game. You have to play the long game. So it's something you really have to work on, and it's a very hard thing to start to find. But the more and more you can start disciplining yourself in other aspects of your life to try and stay patient, it definitely will help, and it will help you with trading. And that's why, like I say, on certain days when the market is not showing you what you want to see, and you come into the market, there's no setups you like, the price is really choppy, maybe it's volatile, you don't like it. It's sometimes good to just practice sitting in front of the computer, charting out your levels, and literally not even opening your brokerage, just looking at TradingView. Like, don't even open up TradeOvate, don't open up your brokerage, just literally only look at TradingView and don't take any trades. Just try sitting in front of your charts, watching things play out, and tape reading without taking any trades, or maybe even you just try and paper trade, right? But that's one thing that'll definitely help you start building a little bit of discipline in your trading. Because if you hop onto the charts every day expecting to take a trade every single time, you're not really going to build that discipline because then you're just going to start forcing trades even if the conditions aren't there. So I would say start doing that. Just literally sitting in front of the charts, still doing your charting, still figuring out your levels, but not even taking a trade. Don't take any trades and just continue to practice that. Right, because I'll hop onto the charts some days, and you guys have seen it since Friday and Monday, didn't take any trades, and we sat in front of the charts for hours, right? We sat in front of the charts for hours, didn't take any trades. The only trades I took on Monday were with our prop firm accounts, right, our evals, which I was willing to try out a few trades, but on our normal accounts in the mornings, we didn't take any trades, and that's just building that discipline to if you don't like the market, if you don't see your A+ setups, just stay out. Right? I know it is easier said than done, and I'll continue to say that because it's true. But start trying to find those ways that you can get around that you can start practicing and building a process. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I definitely have. That's great, Joe. And I have a few points to touch on that as well. Discipline, my definition of discipline is it is the greatest form of self-love there is, because you are sacrificing something you want to do right now for something that you know is better to come down the line. And in that, and again, we talked about what we're, this whole lesson is easier said than done, like most things in life. When we battle with discipline, it's not like we look at these extremely disciplined, motivated people. For me, figures like David Goggins come to mind, really, really accomplished and motivated individuals who have done incredible feats. You look at them and you're like, oh man, he's so disciplined. I wish I could get there. But the more I focus on it, the more I know as a fact for me is it's a daily battle. So you have to set up your life in a way that facilitates discipline. If you're doing everything in your life where it's just, I'm going through the motions, I'm not, thinking about my emotions, I'm not thinking about the conversations I have with my loved ones and interactions with strangers, my diet, my exercise routine, all these things play a huge impact. Even, waking up in the morning to your alarm clock. How many times do you snooze it before you roll out of bed? How many times have you said, I'm going to work out tomorrow for X amount, or I'm going to do this thing tomorrow, but tomorrow comes and you don't do it. So I would highly encourage you guys, if you're trying to become more patient in the market, to implement systems in your daily life that make it easy for you to be disciplined. And truly, that could be as simple as making your bed in the morning. As soon as you roll out, it's like, okay, I'm going to have, for me, this is my little quick example for you guys. I lean up. I give myself 5 minutes. That's the 5-minute rule in bed. My first alarm will go off. It's like, okay, I'm going to have 5 minutes for me to wake up here. I'll put my feet on the ground. I'll drink 16 ounces of water, and then I'll make my bed and I go take a cold shower. And say you don't want to take a cold shower right now, understandable. I don't in the morning, but just making your bed and instilling these things in your life, I promise you will have a direct impact on your trading. So just set yourself up for goals. Like if you say you're going to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, on the nights before, Sunday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night, put your workout clothes, lay them out, and put your shoes by the door. Say, okay, well now it's easy for me to stick to my plan and continue to move on. And what I think is really cool is there's a part in your brain, there's a piece of your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And what happens when you do things you don't want to do, that part of your brain literally grows. It's the only part of your brain that grows. And it is directly, that part of the brain processes emotional regulation, motivation and reward, social cognition, a few other things, but it's a dopamine center in your brain. And it literally grows when you choose to do hard things that you don't want to do. Say you really enjoy cold showers. Well, your anterior mid-cingulate cortex is not going to grow if you get in a cold shower, but that's why I do it in the mornings, is because I really don't want to get in the cold shower. But I know if I do that thing, I get out of bed, I have my water, I make my bed, and I get in that cold shower. Those are 3 things that I'm accomplishing, and one of them I really do not want to do, and it's setting up the rest of my day for success and discipline. And so I would encourage you guys to come up with a system, similar to that. Make it your own. Maybe it's something totally different. Maybe it's a run in the morning. Unfortunately, I'm unable to run at this moment, but something that you enjoy doing, that you can accomplish it every single day, and then throw in something a little bit harder. Like maybe you don't like running up hills. Throw that into the morning run or whatever it is. But like Joe was saying, this stuff has a direct impact on your trading career, just like everything else, diet, exercise. So I don't mean to rant on, but it's something that I'm passionate about and I know helped me tremendously. So I wanted to pass that gift on to you guys. Hopefully gain something out of that little rant. but it's discipline is a form of self-love like no other, and I encourage you guys to implement it in every aspect of your life.
Yeah, I think that's you touched on that great. Really good stuff. I really liked how you talked about that part of your brain. What's it called again? I forget the name already.
Anterior mid-cingulate cortex.
Okay, I'll probably forget that in a few minutes, but I think it's super cool. The fact that that grows is insane. Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, I found personally, have helped me grow as a person for sure. Is you can't, if you're comfortable all the time, when are you ever going to grow? When are you ever going to become improve yourself as a person? If you're always just comfortable, it doesn't seem like, it's kind of just very a basic idea, but you're not going to grow. You're not going to improve. So trading for me, when I first started trading, was very uncomfortable, right? Because I didn't like the risk. I didn't like, how fast things were moving. I didn't like it. I felt very uncomfortable. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing whatsoever, obviously, when I first started. So I was very uncomfortable. But that helped me grow in my normal life because I started to see things a little bit differently. I started to work on a new skill. Every time I work on a new skill or something new that I want to learn, I'm very uncomfortable, right? Because I'm not used to it. Because me personally, I like to win and I like to be good at things. And when I'm not good at them, my pride takes over and I don't like it, right? And that was me for trading. I hated that I was bad at something. I hated that I sucked at trading when I first started. But I was uncomfortable, and it made me continue to build discipline until I figured out how to be successful at it. So I think that's such a cool idea that you were talking about. It's so true. But let me get back to the questions real quick. It looks like, let's see.
Yeah, I'll touch on that short one
Yeah.
for me really quickly.
Yeah.
The question was, I see your new Discord name is the Pursuit Crew. Are you working on a project? So yes, in short form, yeah. I had to, joining on the EE team, I got to get back into social media. So I wanted to create, my social media, not just a personal thing where, hey, my name's John and these are the cool things we're doing over here. Well, I wanted to, facilitate community, thinking about the most important things in my life and the things that truly matter, because we know tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's like, okay, what really matters in my life, and relationships is truly at the core of that. And so I want to integrate that in my daily life. And so the Pursuit Crew is going to be the handle for my social media accounts. And what I'm trying to do is, post cool stuff, motivating things, educational content, and just, create a community. When you join, it feels like you're a part of something that, we're all trying to do something. My slogan for this new community is pursuing wisdom and wellness with heart. And that's something I'm truly focusing on. So that's the new project that I'm trying to share with you guys.
Pretty cool stuff. Can't lie. All right, let me look at your question, DC Morenos. So you said when the trade turns green, we're going to get back to trading a little bit here. When the trade turns green, like 10 points, do you move stop to break even or just let it hit either your TP or S stop loss? I've been in trades where I'm in profit and then move stop to break even, and then watch it hit my break even and it goes to my TP. Yeah, so that's a tough one. So for me, it all depends on what our market conditions are looking like. You probably see me do both. There's going to be certain days where I'm moving my stop loss to break even pretty quick after we get maybe 50 ticks in profit, because we're so volatile and so choppy. I don't really want that one to come back on me and stop me out after being so much in profit. But on a normal day, let's say we have a good trend day where we are finding some very good setups and we really expect that next trade to hit our TP. I'm going to let that one play out. I'm not going to take TP early. I'm not going to move my stop to break even. I'm letting that one play out. So for me, it really just depends on market conditions. Are we in a good trend day, or do we have very clean price action, or is our price action choppy and rangy? Is there a high likelihood that price might come right back and stop us out in the red after already being in the green? So what I don't want to do is have a winning trade turn into a losing trade, right? If I take here's the other rule. If I take TP, I will always move my stop to break even no matter what. If I take a profit, I'm always moving my stop to break even. But if it's before that, like I said, it's really just dependent on market conditions. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you still have a question about that. That's how I see that. That's the way I go about that. Let's see. How was your first week in Utah? My first week in Utah has been amazing. I really love it up here. It's beautiful. Got my office all set up. Feels good to have my workspace all figured out. Been doing a lot of fishing. It's really just the outdoors here are so cool. I'm really enjoying it. Thanks for asking. Appreciate that.
Okay, Garrett asked, John, are you done with trading? Excuse me, guys, one moment. A little under the weather. No, I'm not done trading. But I am done trading in front of a camera. And the reason being is I didn't realize it for the time I was doing it, but it created a lot of stress on my life and just mental strain that I didn't want to incorporate in my daily life. And so I will still be trading with you guys, with Joe, doing this stuff on my own. I switched to a bit more of swing trading. And again, that's just something that I'm trying to incorporate in my life because the day-to-day stuff was starting to weigh on me. And that's not for everybody, that's totally a personal deal. And so that's why I'm not trading for you guys and doing that whole thing. But yeah, just totally a personal thing where I didn't really, just didn't jive with me anymore. So now I'm going to be running wellness, psychology, and risk management with you guys and still be part of the community, which I'm super excited about.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. You guys got any more questions, any more comments? We'll probably finish up the session here in just a few minutes. Start getting prepared for our next trading session. But I'll just leave it open just for a few more minutes for any more questions or comments that you guys want to leave, and then we'll go from there. News was bad. 10-year bond auction was negative. Yeah, these shorts really did step in. We've seen a big drop off. That was my original idea this morning. I really did want to see the short step in this morning early on, and then we saw that manipulation up, right? So it was very, very manipulative day, and then we finally saw that drop off. But even then, we're still very volatile today. So, when we do come into our prop firm session in a little bit, I probably will be looking for shorts. We're starting to really break previous lows, taking out a lot of sell side liquidity. So, hey, there you go. Caught those.
Mr. Ron has a question. As a new trader, I have ideas during the day. Yet, if I speak of the markets or trading, my friends don't know what I'm talking about. How do you guys deal with this since day trading is so niche? Well, I think Joe is on the same boat as I. When I first started, and it was full time. I mean, I jumped into the deep water. I'm a full-time day trader, and talking to people about that, it's a lot of people at first. For me, it was a little intimidating. I wanted to phrase it a different way or something, but in time, through knowledge and experience, the confidence came, and then by a few months into it, I was confidently talking about, what I do and why I do it, and and starting to educate people as well. And so if you're truly trying to, develop ideas during the day based on strategies, I'd recommend using a little notebook. There's studies that show using pen and paper, that hand to mind connection really does help more than typing something into your phone or saying something into your phone. So that'd be a recommendation if you're trying to bounce ideas off of friends, and maybe you could just show us later and we could talk about it. But I would also recommend starting to become confident in it, which comes from knowledge and experience. So really start to pay attention to the things you're doing and why you're doing them, and research them. I use artificial intelligence all the time. Then I'll fact check that, and then I'll see what links they're attributing their knowledge to. But it's something really quick and easy to where if I don't understand a concept, I can punch it into ChatGPT or per se, get a basic understanding, and be like, okay, well, this is why I'm doing this. And in doing so, you're able to, talk to your friends more confidently and give them an understanding of what you're talking about. And then you can really start to bounce ideas off them. And I think that came to me maybe, 8 months into it, something like that. But yeah, just each their own. But that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, yeah, it can be hard. Because some of these, yeah, that's some of the things we talk about. I mean, if you've never heard it before, if someone's never heard some of these concepts we're talking about, they're going to be like, what are you even saying? It's like it is a foreign language, right? When I first started trading, I had no idea what anything meant. And it was very overwhelming. But I think John touched on it very, very good there. It comes in time, and it really, it comes with the territory. Is someone actually interested? Are your friends or your family really interested in what you're doing, and do they want to learn? Is that something they're interested in? Or are they someone that's, maybe not going to be very supportive of it because they, have listened to that everybody, kind of talking crap on it and the stigma around trading because, a lot of people don't really understand the potential of it because they only see it as gambling, quotation marks, right? Because they don't really know what trading is. So I found in my life, there's some people I really just can't talk to about trading with, and you just kind of have to accept it. But there's a lot of other people in my life, good friends, family, that are very interested, that I've gotten to really actually get to teach about trading, which is super cool. I think it's an awesome thing that and the people that are open to it. And then you get to really bounce ideas off of each other once they start learning. And then, yeah, I think it's kind of cool when you do have, someone in your life that is wanting to learn, because then you get to start teaching, and that definitely helps you start to learn a little bit better. I feel like teaching someone something like that makes you start going back to the basics and really starting to almost start to understand the concepts a little bit better sometimes.
Absolutely. Teaching's a wonderful way to educate yourself.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, guys, that's why we're in this community, right? That's why we have this community. You have a bunch of people here that all are learning the same things, that all have the same goal. So I'm sure if you send a message into the chat, even if it's in the middle of the night, you're probably going to get people that are going to want to talk about similar things, similar ideas, right? And you're going to see me responding to those things that you're talking about too, right? Because we're all on the same page here. We're all looking for the same stuff. So again, if you don't have people in your personal life to be able to talk to about it, well, you got this community, right? We're all here for each other. We all have similar goals, and we're trying to achieve similar things, and that's what we're here for.
I do want to touch on something
yeah.
really quick.
Go for it.
Uh, Sorry to drag this on. I know your session's coming up, but just the comments that I saw, DC, I totally understand. He's talking about don't tell your friends or family. They'll pray for your downfall and don't understand why we're doing this. Get so much negative and made fun of for my friends. Well, what I'm about to say is pretty touchy. So absolutely take everything with a grain of salt. But let me preface it with this first. I think communication, the ability to communicate between each other, is a skill that we are never formally taught unless you are in communications. It is something that we are expected to pick up on as a child, and our communication skills are mostly formed from how we watch our parents and our siblings interact, and those in your very close circle. And so if you don't have really healthy communication when you were growing, or if you did not have really healthy communication when you were growing up, that unless you are actively trying to improve that skill set, communication, you are stuck with the same, with some variation, but essentially you're stuck with those same communication habits that probably weren't the healthiest. So I say that first to say, is how you are communicating about this day trading thing and this trading thing. Are you communicating that effectively to your friends and in a way that facilitates, interest and love and well-being for yourself, and something that, like, hey, this is something new that I'm really excited about. Um, and so that's a question to ask yourself, not only in that, but in every conversation. But so are you directing your friends and family in a really healthy way? And secondly, if you are able to talk to them in a really healthy way, and you're able to get that, this new interest of yours, or maybe it's not a new interest, if you're able to articulate well this new interest of yours in a way that should invoke a positive response from these people that are supposed to care about you, and they come back to you with negativity, and and I know sometimes it can be extremely harsh. There's two things I would recommend. One is, if there's someone you truly care about, take the time to say, hey, the things that you said to me, this is a new passion that I'm trying to really learn about. And what you said isn't supportive, it's not loving, and it's downright mean. And I'd really appreciate if, we could work on that form of communication. But if it's more of an acquaintance, or a surface level friend, a superficial relationship, and they come to you with that negativity, if you are having healthy communication to them, that's probably not someone you need in your life. And it's probably better to separate ways. And I say this with a grain of salt, because I know relationships are probably the most complex things that we are faced with daily. So just take that into consideration. How are you communicating to them? Have you expressed your feelings about how they make you feel? And if you have done that to the best of your ability, and you're still faced with that really negativity, I mean, time to maybe spend less time with them or separate it completely. And I know that's pretty niche and very specific to each situation, relationship, but food for thought.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think you touched on that perfectly. Um, 1 hour order block at 98 for those insurers consider covering there. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I I would say right now I think we've covered some good ideas. I think we've covered some good topics. Personally, I'm going to start getting prepped for our next training session. Remember, we're going to be hopping on in about 30 minutes from now for our prop firm session. So we will hop on that soon. Appreciate everybody that joined up. Appreciate your guys' questions, your comments. Great session. Again, we're going to be doing these Q&As every single Wednesday at this time. So for those of you that are just joining up for the free Wednesdays, you can expect to be able to come to us with your questions, with your comments, and again, we try to answer the best of our abilities, and hopefully we added a little bit of value in your life or in your trading. So, all right, guys, appreciate you all. God bless. I will see hopefully all of you, if not most of you, in a little bit for our last trading session. Until then, stay safe. And yeah, we'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right, friends. Thanks for joining. Talk to you later.
All right, guys. Peace.
Drink water.
Yo. Yeah. So that first one, oh, are you uploading it right now? Oh, I forgot to stop the